Minecraft, one of the most recognized games of all time. It has changed generations. I have taught kids that were born after the game is released, and now are getting closer to the drafting age. But what if we could use AI to create the perfect super soldier to replace those children, so that way they could go into the mines? What if I willed an AI army to break every Geneva Convention, so that way we could just win every war? So you might be wondering about the ethical impacts of something like this. There are none. You see, by using AI in Minecraft, we can simulate war completely without killing anyone for real, maybe. Here's what we need to do. We need to create a mission control that uses Discord to control all of our Minecraft bots. Then we need those Minecraft bots to do whatever we tell them to do. And we need them to be organized. I want to be able to send a command and walk away and have it be done relatively quickly. Let us finally talk about how these bots are going to work. I was introduced to the concept by my hacking coworker, Swig. His brilliant idea was to take Mindflayer, a programming extension, and connect it to a Discord server so that we could control it from the comfort of our gaming dungeons. The point is that his idea would let us control any number of Minecraft bots, and we don't even need to be near the computers that are running it. Now, we don't have to use Mindflayer. There are other options that we prototyped, and all of those juicy details will be in the description and on the GitHub. So go subscribe, because I'm releasing some amazing projects in the next few weeks. But with our project of choice now ready to move forward, it's time to start botting. Here is the plan. We will have my home desktop have a direct connection to the Discord server. When either of us sends a command or task, the bots will log in to the server, and then we'll complete that task. Then they will log out to avoid suspicion. We could also define other things like having the bots do multiple tasks before logging out. From there, we can create a network of bots that connect, build, and distribute materials for bases or other deeds that need to be done. The problems are going to be authentication with Microsoft and controlling multiple bots without the server kicking us or banning us for doing these things. Because we're using more than one bot, we actually ask for too much data on our own Wi-Fi. And because of that, we have a higher % chance of getting kicked. We can start with a basic LAN world and this code. Basically, it makes a bot join a Minecraft server. That was easy. We can then add that to the Discord bot and give it a button. And we can now press that button and get a bot whenever we'd like. We will give it a name from a list, and Bob's your uncle. We now have as many Minecraft unpaid workers as we want. The goal is to have 25 Minecraft bots to do the important stuff, and then an infinite amount of extra bots that will be created and killed once they complete smaller tasks that are just not worth the effort for the big ones. So we are closer to many other societies already. Heck yeah. With the ability to give and take life, we can now add a menu to the Discord that only authorized users can interact with, but others can still see and monitor it. With this system, we can basically play Minecraft through any Discord server. But we are now at the decision-making point. Do we focus on teaching these bots to be more self-sustaining and more society-focused? Or do we focus on mining, crafting, and growing and building in individual ways to victory? And that's when I did some thinking. Let's look at the great leaders of the last few thousand years: Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, and Microsoft. What do all these corporations have in common? They gobble up their competitors and kill their weak. But at the same time, they build vast empires in terms of construction, communication, and commerce. So instead of focusing on building or destroying, let's build an empire and then use those vast resources to destroy the servers with our wealth of numbers and supplies. And all we need to do is put the create bot command into a for loop. Now, of course, that's not how it actually works. We are still on a local world and not on a real server with security, plugins, and mods to control us. So we need to find a sneaky way to get our bots onto a server. One way to do this is to add a small delay, but as we're going to see in a minute, joining is not the hard part. It's sending and receiving data from 25 bots consistently. Basic things like moving or mining become challenges because every time we add a bot, we are now constantly sending commands back and forth for things like movement. After doing some research on Mindflayer, we found some disappointing news. Most servers only allow 3 players per IP, and my current code will only allow up to 8 users on LAN, including me. So we need to find a solution to this now before we invest into building this entire empire. Luckily, I found out that that 8-player cap was a limitation placed on us by Minecraft itself. It's because of how LAN worlds work. So, to move forward, I decided that I should create my own Minecraft server. I downloaded the files and needed to set it up. After modifying the code to run on a server instead of a LAN world, I got all 25 bots to join. And I decided that this is a good time for me to test the limits of what we can do. How many bots could we join? Remember, this is before they do anything like move or mine or get data, but this can give us a good look into what is possible. After fiddling with all of my code, I was able to eventually get 100 bots to join the game. That's a massive number, and way too many. We don't really need that many. But it does show how big we can go, and I'm extremely excited to see what we can do. But now we need to polish the Discord side. For our Discord bot, Mr. Swig has provided me with this amazing menu. So let's walk through how he built it. Originally, our program was built as a Minecraft mod, but while I was testing it out, and failed, Swig built this menu. Let's break it down. This is the Discord bot. When it turns on, it creates a control panel that any authorized user can access. It shows a bunch of different buttons and a tree of commands and responses that are available. Now, it was built to service one bot, but we can expand this menu to encompass every bot. I changed it to include the ability to give status commands for bots already on the server, and a way to add a new bot with a new command. There are also master commands that control all the bots, like dropping all of the resources off at a storage system, or all logging out in a panic mode. This allows the basic functionality for the resource gathering and tasks like crafting. But now we need to organize our Minecraft army. That begs the question, how are we going to divide the troops? Under what banner should they serve? If only there was a peaceful organization that never makes mistakes, with clear, unmistakable, simplistic symbols so that we could base our nonprofit religious order off of. We're basing it off of the United States military. Because of this, we get to create Havoc. Each branch of our order will control different parts of the operation. My major reason for doing this? Because I am lazy. Basically, what we want to do is whenever we turn the bot on, we want to spawn 25 bots. 5 will be inside of one of the branches. When we have 5 different branches, we can basically just let it run and they should self-sustain themselves, gathering resources and building themselves up. I should be able to leave for a couple of days, watch them run away and do some stuff, and then come back to execute our master plan, mainly of just building a small house. Or, in terms that everyone will understand, total global domination. Let's lay out what needs to be done. We need a way to have a Minecraft bot store items at chest locations. We then need to give those bots the ability to gather items and blocks. Then, we need to be able to craft those materials, maybe with some arson sprinkled in for some meaty stuff, and combined, this should give us the full set of items, blocks, and tools required to build the Empire. Let's rewrite the script to have all of the bots put items into chests. Surprisingly, this is one of the most complicated parts. Since we can't just say, go put something in a chest, we actually have to have the bot walk toward one of a known chest locations. We get to set this, and we get to basically say, hey, this is the storage area. Then, the bots can go and put something inside of those chests. But this was no simple feat. It turns out that being able to have the bot put something into a chest comes along with a ton of errors. It could have been just how I'm doing it, but it took literal hours to get this to work. In the end, it turned out that I was just using everything incorrectly, and after doing some more research, it was just a few lines of code that if I turned off or switched things around, it ended up working flawlessly. You know, except for all of the flaws. But other than that, it works, and we get to have a button that says, yo, go put all your stuff away. It was at this point that I also decided to rebuild the Discord bots side of the equation. Instead of having one menu for everything, I decided to break out every branch into its own bot, and then have a master bot for things like putting things away or stopping all the bots in that emergency. I have 4 official branches, one for mining, one for crafting, one for building, and one for fighting. Then that 5th one is just sort of like your command branch. Together, it should be able to gather all of the resources required to do pretty much everything else. Since we pretty much have the master commands done, we can now start with mining. What we want to do is that when you hit the mine button, we want to spawn in the 5 mining bots, and then give them some sort of target. This came along with some pretty major asterisks, but it was a lot quicker than the storage solution. Pretty much I just had to figure out how block IDs work correctly, and just throw all of the ores and other stone-like materials into a menu for Discord. And from there, that was pretty much it. Mining works. You just set them off the mine, they go get tools, and they go do all the things they need to do. And then at the end, you get to just command them to put it away. Next up was the crafting side of things. Basically, I want to have a bot, or maybe a couple, be able to look at the storage system, classify all the things that we want, and then have the Discord users be able to say, hey, I want to have 1 or 2 of these items. And then I want the bots to be able to go through all of the items, figure out if we have certain materials, and then craft it if we do, or tell the users, hey, we don't have this material. I'm going to skip over to the fighting bots real quick. What we can do is we can have them search for some sort of entity, and then, attack them. Things like sheep, cows, chickens, all that good stuff. We can also have them maybe do a little bit of farming and agriculture, just to sort of make up for their violent tendencies. But altogether, the fighting group kind of is actually the food supply of the Minecraft bots, which is a pretty important section of this. Now, from a theoretical standpoint, we could stop here. We technically have a way to go mine, grow, craft everything we would need to build an empire. Except, going and building the empire. We need to go do that, like right now. But for now, we can send all of our bots out onto a testing server and get them to collect all the resources we need while we work on this problem. I decided to go ahead and spawn in 25 bots. That way we can start collecting resources and really kind of get testing and finding all of the issues. But with 25 bots, I tried to have them all collect some wood, and they just refused. They couldn't see the oak wood right next to them. There were 1 or 2 that could, but they just couldn't do it, and it almost felt like I couldn't interact with them at all. But when I reduced it back down to 5 bots, they could do exactly what I told them to do, and they all mined this because of oak wood. Huh? But, Nikes. Alright, so it looks like we're not really out of the way yet. I decided to upgrade the server spec, so that way we can have a little bit more power inside of the server. And I immediately tried to do this again, and it had the same result. But if I have less bots, it does work. Actually, sometimes it kicks it regardless. That's not normal. Okay, maybe this is a problem with my code. After changing things around, I ran 1 bot, and it worked a little bit, but once it mined 1 tree, it died almost immediately. That's not how this worked earlier. However I wrote my code a couple days ago wasn't that different from how I'm writing it now, and only now is it giving me this many issues. I'm going to quickly go back to the drawing board and try and see if there's another method or some other way to do this and have multiple bots that I'm just not looking at, and try and go fix it real quick. I attempted to find all of the different ways that I could change my code or update it or make it delay or give them some sort of timing so that way they could use this code differently. But in the end, it just kept crashing. And all I could do is watch as my bots just crashed and burned. We went from having hundreds of bots to 0. And I have no idea why. And while I've been editing this video, I can tell that while they may not look evil right now, they would be able to do so many things. If only there were some sort of renaissance to help them.